Hello and welcome back to Just Be Gaming, where we are breaking down the Seeker cards for specifically the Sunforge. This is not for the story mode, this is specifically for the Sunforge. And we have done the uncommon or the common cards, the uncommon cards, the rare cards, and now we are going on to the legendary cards. If you haven't watched the other the other videos, I explain my tier list, or at least in the very first one, I explain my tier list. But yeah, let's get right into it with Aquarius's Dream, the final path available to the Seeker. So Aquarius's Dream. For one energy, you start your path, and after the tide changes 2 times, not in a single turn, mind you, like the other paths, after the tide changes 2 times, you draw 2 cards and advance the path. And Aquarius's Dream to the next path, after the tide changes 3 times, again, not in a single turn, just 3 times, gain an extra turn and advance. And then the final path, after the tide changes 4 times, again, not in the same turn, once it changes 4 times, get Spark of Eternity. And Spark of Eternity, what it does, it's a card that you can play for 2 energy that allows you to imbue an enchantment you have in play. Wow. So, there is essentially 0 downside to this card. The amount of times that you will make it to the end path of this card is frankly staggering. Even if you don't make it to the end path, you will almost always make it to the free extra turn part. It's pretty wild. And if you take like Washed Ashore or Tidal Shift or some of those cards that change the tide for you, it steamrolls out of control very quickly, allowing you to get not only that extra turn but that end path. The end path, if you don't have a lot of enchantments, you're not getting super value out of the last path, but those first 2 paths of drawing 2 cards and gaining an extra turn for the next one, it's unreal. This is easily an always pick card. There is 0 downside to this card. I would only not pick this card if there was somehow an even better legendary card to choose in the given card pool. It is so good. And there's a lot of fun to be had if you want to do some like silly shenanigans with is it Whimsical? The talent Whimsical, where every at the start of your turn or at the start of combat, you gain a random enchantment. So as long as you can get this to the last phase where you complete the path and you get Spark of Eternity, you can have so many enchantments imbued. It is so funny. I've had it happen. Maybe I've done it maybe like 1 time, but it can be a lot of fun. Aquarius's Dream, easily and always pick. There's literally no downside to it. It's just a really good card. Next, we have Aquatic Phalanx. For 3 energy, discard your hand, then summon an equal amount of clones and gain 2 barrier for each of your clones. Now, I think I said it earlier, but I do not like this card. Not even in clone decks, to be completely honest. I don't like cards that end my turn. Unless I'm getting like insane value from them. And this is one of those cards that you have to play and then your turn is over. Because you discard your hand, you're not drawing any cards, you're not doing anything. You just play the card, your turn is over. And that's it. And that's not even to mention how insanely expensive this card is. It costs 3 energy, but really it almost costs 4 to play. Since you will likely want the clones it makes, you need 1 energy left over for the channel, because if you have 3 energy and then you play this, those clones, unless you have advanced cloning, of course, those clones are going to go away because clones are a channel ability. So it really costs 4 energy to play, not 3 energy to play. So sure, the barrier it generates can be nice as long as you have a lot of clones, but the amount of times I've had this card in my hand not being able to play it because it just costs too much and I can't afford it, or the cards that I have like it don't make it worth it. It's just I don't like this card. This card is honestly a never pick for me personally, and I'd only pick it to transmute it into hopefully a better legendary, but it does have some niche uses. I'll put it in D, but honestly, for me, I almost like never pick this card. Next is Code of Egality. One of the rare Seeker code cards. So for it's actually doesn't cost anything, because once you pick a code, it's just there. So I don't know why it says 3 energy, but it is what it is. So when you play a card, reduce the cost of a card in your hand and deck by 1. But the only way that happens is if all other card costs are the same amount of energy. So all other cards in your deck cost the same amount of energy. I think I was able to make this card work maybe once in the Sunforge. This is very close to a never pick for me, honestly. But since there have been times where this card comes up, like maybe as like the second to last card in my draft, and I realize, hey, all my cards only cost 1 energy, minus of course the surges. Then you really only need to remove 3 cards, or transmute those surges to hopefully get a 1 cost card. Then this code comes online. The worst case scenario, I guess, is if you pick this, you can transmute it into a different legendary card. It's not an easy card to get going in the Sunforge. This is close to a never pick for me, but since I've been able to make it work at least once, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a situational card, because you might, like I said, run into that situation where it's like maybe your second card that you're drafting or your last card that you're drafting, and this shows up and you look at your card list and you're like, hey, all my cards somehow actually only cost 1 energy. So if I remove my surges with the rewards, I will be able to get this code online, and it's actually pretty strong. So that is the only way I would pick this card, which is why I'm putting it in situational. Otherwise, I'd probably never pick this card. Just because removing cards is not as easy to do in the Sunforge as it is to do in the story mode. Next is Code of Mind, the next and I believe final code for the Seeker. Unless they added a new code in the new expansion, which I'm not covering here, I forget. At the start of your turn, conjure a free Clarity. And a Clarity, it normally costs 1, but it'll conjure it free, and you get to pick you draw any card, just any card from your deck. You can pick any card you want. Actually, I don't even know what has to be in your deck. I think it would be in your discard pile too. You can draw any card, and if you have Scholar, you will also gain 1 energy. So if you are able to get this code online, it is a free card draw with potentially like a free card draw plus an energy. So it's a net positive. But you need to have the code online, which all other cards in your deck are memorized. So again, I think the only reason this card is not a never pick is because it can be transmuted into a different legendary. In order to get this code to work, you need so many things. or at least you want so many things. Scholar, you want to make that free clarity really pop off. You want Alter Mind, to be able to memorize like all your cards. But then the insane amount of battles you need to go through to memorize all of your cards to get this code, you'll be in like the second ring of the Sunforge before that even happens, probably. It's not an easy card to get going. It's a D for me. It's a D. It's not easy to get going at all. Next we have Cosmic Revelation. Cosmic Revelation. Let's click the button. There you go. Cosmic Revelation. For 3 energy, a whopping 3 energy, gain 3 focus. When this was foretold 3 times, delve a revelation, then permanently increase this requirement by 1. And it's unique, so you can only play it once a turn. This card used to be different. I think I preferred it in its own state. I believe in the last video I said when I used Mental Assault to defeat the big bad of the final story mode game, it was with Mental Assault and the old Cosmic Revelation, I believe. And it gave you like 10 focus rather than 3 focus. It didn't have this revelation clause. I don't know. I forget exactly how it was, but they changed it. I don't think there would be enough luck in the galaxy to make this card work in the Sunforge. It costs so much. You only gain a small amount of so it's unique. So not only do you need to foretell it a bunch of times before you can actually play it, not only do you need focus to play the revelations, not only can you only play it one time, you got to give it persistent, or you have to like hold on. Like it's just, you can't even give it persistent because you need it to be in your deck to foretell it. Like it's just, the amount of stuff that needs to line up for this card to work, this is like pretty much a never pick. I wrote situational because there are certain situations where maybe you can get it to go, but it's so difficult to get going in the Sunforge that I'd probably never pick it. Like it's situational or never pick. Honestly, I'm gonna put it in never pick, but it's not an easy thing to get working. To be completely honest, I'm not a big fan. Next we have Dark Omen. So for 1 energy, inflict 5 doom and gain darkness equal to your foe's doom. So if you're building a doom deck, there is hardly a better card that you could pick. And if you get the talent Tough Bones, then really there's like no better combination that you could get. Like it's an easy pick if you have Tough Bones and are building a doom deck. It's great. It provides you damage mitigation in the form of darkness. As long as you have Tough Bones, you won't get stunned. It's really good. And if you already have ways to put darkness on your enemy, or sorry, doom on your enemy with other cards that inflict doom. So say you can give them like 15 doom with another card in your deck, and then you play this card, you'll get 20 darkness, not just the 5 darkness from the inflicting 5 doom. It's gain darkness equal to your foe's doom. So you want to play Dark Omen last as your last like doom card for the turn kind of thing, because then you'll get the maximum amount of darkness. It's absolutely a fantastic card, but otherwise I wouldn't take this. Even if I'm not building a doom deck, but I get tough, if I take Tough Bones as a talent for whatever reason, I would probably take this card if it showed up, because I'm not going to get stunned once darkness is removed, and it's an easy like 5 damage mitigation. Like, I mean, it's not amazing. I wouldn't pick this all the time, but like if I had Tough Bones, I would consider picking this if nothing else showed up in the card draw that really spoke to me. It's situational, But if you got a Doom deck, and especially if you have Tough Bones and a Doom deck, both of those, it's an easy pick. Next we have Desert Veil. So Desert Veil, it's technically it's an enchantment, but not really. So for 1 energy, gain 1 swiftness. But if this is played during the first turn of combat, so if it's your very first turn and you play this, you get to play it as an enchantment, which means at the start of every turn, you will gain 1 swiftness. If it's not memorized and you don't play this as your first opening card hand, it doesn't have to be the first card you play, but if it's not like one of the first cards you play in your opening hand, it's unique, which means if it's your second turn and you play it, you can only play it that one time. So it immediately loses value. Like 1 energy for 1 swiftness is so bad. But if you can play it as an enchantment, if you can memorize this card, it's great. And if you have evasion, you need evasion in your deck. Otherwise, yeah, I guess that's another caveat. You need this to be memorized and you need evasion. If even 1 evasion would probably make this worth taking. You'll be able to memorize it for sure. In the Sunforge, it's pretty easy to memorize stuff, and then you'll be getting swiftness every single turn. So when you do use evasion, you'll at least get that swiftness to kick in. It is situational in that you need evasion to make it relevant at all. It's easily a high A card, but it is situational. It is a situational card. Because if you don't have evasion, then you really don't want it. You know what I mean? Like without evasion, it's just a dead draw. And then it's not doing anything for you. Next we have Doomsday. Another card that was reworked that I liked its original version more, but I think it was probably a little bit too strong, which is why they reworked it. So for 1 energy, add a terror to your foe's deck. If this was foretold 2 times, transform a card in their hand into a terror instead, which is absolutely fantastic. And I think that's likely why they had to rework it, because I forget exactly how the mechanic worked now, because it wasn't it didn't have to be foretold. I think it was ambush, or no, it wasn't ambush. I forget what it was, but it had some mechanic that it needed to transform the card into their hand into a terror, but it wasn't foretelling. It wasn't foretell. But this card suffers the same issue that Funhouse suffers from, and that is that terror just isn't that good for the player. Let's see. Again, what does terror do? It puts a terror in your opponent's hand, and when they draw it, they gain a number of fear stacks. So it inflicts additional fear for every turn that is passed. And I don't remember the exact number of I guess it's like the round number versus the difficulty, and then that's like, I don't know, it's just not a lot. It's not a lot of terror. It just isn't as good for the player as it is for the enemy. And when the enemy plays terror, it usually is very good because they can stack up fear a lot faster. And honestly, if you're able to foretell this twice, which is, trust me, it's a lot harder than it actually sounds, you'll be able to replace a card in their hand with a terror, which is very nice. You can choose to stop them from playing one of their big hit or like really important cards that turn. But note that it doesn't permanently remove that card from their deck. I know that's kind of what it sounds like. It sounds like it's going to permanently transform that card into a terror, and I'm almost certain that is not the way it works. But in all honesty, it's not as easy as you think to foretell this twice before you draw it and play it. It's much harder than you think. This is a situational card because you need a foretell deck to really make this pop off. And I think terror either needs to be reworked as a mechanic for the player, or the player cards that give terror. It needs to be different. It can't be a terror. Terror just it takes way too long. It's way too slow to ramp up. I just don't think the terror mechanic is good for the player. It's great for the monster, for the enemy you're fighting, but it's not good for the player. Next we have Eldermind Pendant. So it's an artifact, which I don't know. I think I don't know what the difference is between an artifact and enchantment. I guess they didn't want to call this an enchantment since it's not an enchantment. It's like you're wearing a necklace. I don't really know what the difference is, other than thematic differences. Gameplay wise, I don't think there's like any real difference because most enemies that can strip enchantments off you they also have abilities to strip artifacts, like I forget, like one of the bosses. She's like the worm decay ugly boss. Like her card, I believe it says remove an artifact or enchantment. So I just don't understand. Anyway, for 3 energy, whenever you play a non-conjured dragon card, repeat your start of turn effects. Pretty nice. But if you don't have any dragon cards, then this is a dead card. Not only does it cost a lot, but yeah, like I said, if you have no dragon cards, it's a completely dead card. And it doesn't work with Majestic Mind, because Majestic Mind conjures dragon cards. And this needs to be non-conjured. Whenever you play a non-conjured dragon card, repeat your start of turn effects. It's situational because you need a dragon deck. It is a situational card, and I would probably, if that situation didn't align itself for me, if I didn't have a dragon card deck, if I didn't have a lot of dragon cards, I didn't have started turn effects, I'd probably only pick this to transmute it, to be completely honest. Enigma is our next card. Whoops, that's not Enigma. Enigma. So, it's an enchantment, 2 energy. This combat, conjure any card and reduce its cost to 0 at the start of your turn. So, I had something written up for this card that ended up getting completely scrapped because of the way the spine works now. So, before, this card was an almost always pick because of how handy this card used to be. So the spine has an ability. Before you cycle through your deck, the next card you play permanently transforms into a sin. It still has value, but what would happen is if the card was a conjured card and you played it, it would not transform into a sin, and you would not get a sin into your deck. It took some clever timing and playing, but you wouldn't get a sin if you played a conjured card. They changed that. Now conjured cards will be added in sin. It will be turned into sins and be added into your deck as permanent sins. So it lost a little bit of that usefulness, but it still has a lot of value because you won't be transforming your good cards into sins. It will only be transforming conjured cards into sins, which is better than having it transform a good card that you want into a sin. I think I probably would still almost always pick this. Just because of that fact. Because of the spine. You need some way to mitigate you transforming all your cards into sins. And there is a different way you can do that. And that is to end your turn. So before you end up drawing a card, because if you overdraw your hand, it will transform a card into a sin. So before that happens, if you end your turn, you will lose that debuff, and then you have gotten away with not getting a sin. But a lot of the times you don't want to do that because you will still have energy to play. You'll still want to play some cards. And it's probably better. It's hard to say because there are some really bad sins out there. Personally, I preferred the way the spine used to work, and that you could have some clever play around with the sins, but now you can't do that. Now you're almost like, if you don't want sins in your deck, you need to just end your turn before you overdraw and get cards turned into sins. So it's hard to say. I think I still might put this in almost always pick, to be completely honest, just because of that card. It is a very good card. Yeah, I don't know. The Vile Decay buff is what it's called. That's the one that turns your cards. Let's read what it says. Vile Decay. So, when you play a card, destroy and replace it with a random sin, then remove this effect. So this only comes into play once you have essentially played all the cards in your deck. So once your deck goes to 0, this comes into play. And then, like, essentially the next card you play or the next card you draw or like whatever. Yeah, it's essentially the next card you play, yeah. So the next card you play, if it's a card draw or like anything, it's going to get destroyed and replaced with a random sin. This used to not work with conjured cards. It does now. I would still rather a conjure card turn into a sin than one of my good cards. But if you end your turn, then this just goes away. And you don't have to worry about it for your next turn until your deck reaches 0 again. So there is counterplay to it that way by just by ending your turn. So you can counterplay it that way. But the problem with that is you are risking dragging out the fight, and the longer you drag out the spine fight, the more damage he ends up doing. His damage ramps up so much the longer the fight goes on. So it's almost worth it to like get some sins in your deck than by just ending your turn when you could be playing more cards. So that's why I say this is an almost always pick, because I would rather turn a random conjure card into a sin than a card that I actually drafted and I actually want to be using. So that's why. And it's a free card, so that's why it conjures a free card that you can essentially just throw away as fodder to turn into a sin, so one of your good cards doesn't. That's why I think I got to put this in an almost always pick. That was a long tangent. Sorry about that. All right, next is Ouroboros. Ouroboros. I like the pun. So it's an equipment, costs 1 energy. Activate to foretell 3 cards, and it reactivates when the tide changes. And when it depletes, you get to take an extra turn, and it has 5 charges. So this card, much like Aquarius's Dream, it's so easy to get that free turn, especially if you have tide-changing cards. For whatever reason, I don't know what the reason is, but whenever you trigger this card's ability and then you play a tide change card, this ability resets. So you can use it again. So, for instance, you activate it, foretell 3 cards, place one of the foretelled cards on top of your deck. Great. Oh, look, I have Washed Ashore. I'm going to change the tide. You change the tide. Oh, well, it says reactivates when the tide changes. That's insane. So, like, you can so quickly get that extra turn. This is an almost always pick. It might even be an always pick, but like, it doesn't even need the tide changing to be good. Like, most of the time, you'll probably like have 5 turns to go. Like it's really strong. It's really good, and it can't be understated. It's a very good equipment. And did I mention that you can get this too with the amazing whatever this one's called again, the Gift of the Sea. Oh my god, Gift of the Sea is such a good card, guys. Gift of the Sea is such a good card. Pick Gift of the Sea if you see it. It is so good. All right, next we got Illusionary Arms. Illusionary Arms. So it's an enchantment for 1 energy. This combat, whenever you discard a basic attack, make a basic attack. So honestly, I have tried and I have tried and I have tried to make a Shuriken deck, discard deck work in the Sunforge, and it just does not work that well. You can have all the pieces, all the ingredients you need to make it work, and it just is so difficult to make work. If you can make it work, but it takes like insane luck. At best, this is a situational pick, and at worst, this is a never pick. It's not an easy card. You only have 2 basic attacks in the Sunforge first off. So realistically, this is only ever going to be dealing like a small amount of damage unless you're copying your basic attacks, which you don't necessarily want to do. But with Shuriken, it can be good. You just need a lot of them. I don't know. I want to put it in never pick, but it is situational. It is a situational card. I don't know. I've tried to make this work so many times that I just don't want to try to make it work anymore, to be completely honest. So I personally don't pick this. There's better cards in the legendary pool, even in the rare pool, let's face it. I would pick this just to probably transmute it if there was nothing better. Yeah, I don't know about this card, to be honest, in the Sunforge. Next, we have Master of Forms. 3 energy. It's an enchantment. 3 energy. This combat, yeah, see, there it is. Conjure a beast form. That was this card that I was... It's not a card you can actually draft, beast form. So conjure a beast form at the start of your turn, and whenever you shift, gain 2 anger. Not too shabby. So aside from the upfront costs of this card, it is a very good card. But it has a hefty price tag associated. It costs 3 energy to play it, but then the beast form card that it conjures also costs 1 energy. So that's a downside. But the other downside of this card is that you need to constantly change forms to get the anger benefit from this. So if you are in bear form and you play this enchantment's beast form card and you change into bear form, you will not get the anger. You have to change into a different form. So say you really want bear form and you just want to stay in bear form, you're not going to be gaining the anger from it. This card shines with a lot of other shape-shifting form cards. So you'll want like shred, you'll want feather form, you'll want fur hide, you'll want these other cards to make this shine, so you can always end your turn in the form that you want to actually be in, which will more often than not probably be bear form, unless you're going for ravens or something else, like a focus build. But it is a really good card still. It's a really good card, and it works, and it can work in like any deck really. It doesn't even have to be a shapeshift deck for it to work. I would put this in a high B, low A. I'm going to put it in B just because A is getting a little bigger than B. I think it's got a big price tag and you have to change forms to get the anger, but yeah, if you do build it to be like, if you're building a shapeshift deck, the amount of anger you can get with this is actually kind of bonkers. It is a really, really good card. It's not an always pick though. It's definitely not an always pick. It costs too much for every deck to really make shine. Next we have Mind Nova. I don't know why this is a secret card, but it costs 2 energy. Blue-green energy or 1 blue-red energy. If you have only 2 green energies, you can't play this. You need a blue energy as a seeker to be able to play this as well. You need both blue and green to be able to play this card. It's essentially a blue-green card. The red is so that the knight can play it as well. So for a blue and a green energy, draw a card, and then repeat for each other type of Nova card you've played this combat. But it's unique. You can only play it once. If you're building a Nova deck, this is good, or it can be good. For me, this is a never pick. Realistically, it's a situational card, because if you're building a Nova deck, it can be good. But if you take the Nova talent as a seeker, you're already going to get this card, and having 2 is unnecessary since it's expensive and it's unique. You can't have a second one. But if you're not building a Nova card, then this is like draw 1 card for 2 energy. Maybe if for whatever reason you took other Nova cards, you'll get a bit more value out of it. But I don't know. It's not good on its own, and it needs other Nova cards to work. It's situational. Yeah, I guess it shouldn't be never picked because it is situational. If you're building a Nova deck, it's obviously going to be good. But yeah, I don't know. Next we have Moonwell. So this is an enchantment. It should be an artifact, I feel. I feel like this should really be an artifact and not an enchantment, right? Like, whatever, it doesn't matter. For 2 energy, this combat, remove all counters on Moonwell and gain that much health at the start of your turn. You add a counter onto the Moonwell for each card you foretell. Not bad. So this is probably one of the Seeker's best healing cards in the game. The only caveat is it needs foretell to actually work. If you get this card offered to you early, I would probably pick it and try to draft as many foretell cards as possible. Usually in the Sunforge, when you're building a deck, you don't want to be like I'm going to play a performance rogue. You kind of have to just go with what the cards give you. You have to be able to be flexible. You can't really chase... Or, I mean, you can chase an archetype, but you probably shouldn't be chasing an archetype. It's kind of a lot like Slay the Spire. That's I think why I like Sunforge so much, because I really like Slay the Spire. In Slay the Spire, you can't really start the game and be like, I'm going to play Frost Defect. Because then, like, what if you don't find any Frost cards as card rewards? Like, then you can't play a Frost Defect. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same way. You can't choose what archetype you want to play. You kind of just have to go based on the cards. So this card is very, very situational. I would only pick it if I already have foretell, like a bunch of foretell cards in my deck, or a lot of focus. Yeah, I likely wouldn't try to... If this was offered early, I would be probably shooting myself in the foot to take this and then hope to find foretell cards. Yeah. I mean, not without using like a ton of rerolls, which, like I think I said earlier, I've been playing the Sunforge by not using any rerolls, and I'm trying not to come at this tier list with not using rerolls in mind. I am coming at this with the idea that all your card packs will be enabled. But yeah, it's a situational card. Next, we have Oracle Pendant, or Oracle's Pendant. So this one's an artifact. There you go. For 3 energy, this combat, gain 1 focus at the start of your turn. Conjurations deal extra damage for each focus. Not shabby. So, it's a card. It certainly is a card. It's actually pretty decent in a Stardart deck, since a lot of Stardarts will end up being conjured. just through like Star Map and what was it, Starfall. A lot of your star darts will end up being conjured, so if you have a lot of focus, those star darts are going to end up dealing a lot more damage. But again, why are you building for a Star Dart deck in the Sunforge? It's not good. It's just not good. I don't know, man. It's situational, I guess, but I wouldn't pick it. It's a D. It's definitely a D, but it's situational. If you want to do some Star Dart shenanigans, it can be fun. It will. It's kind of like centered strikes in a way, but only for basic attacks and not mantras now. And only for surge basic attacks, like Surge of Dexterity basic attacks. Because Surge of Dexterity basic attacks are conjured. So it's kind of like that a little bit, but I don't know. It's nice for gaining one focus at the start of your turn, I guess. But it costs a lot. It takes way too long to really start doing anything. If you do have a lot of conjurations in your deck and you already have a lot of ways to generate focus, it can be good. But I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, honestly. Next we have Pacifism. So it's an enchantment for 1 energy. This combat, if you've dealt no damage during your turn, you gain 1 impervious. This is such a unique card. Not just because it has a unique tag on it, because it's an enchantment. But I love this card. I really, really, really love this card. But it obviously does not fit into every deck for maximum efficiency. It's still worth it to take this card. Honestly, I've ranked this card as an almost always pick. It's an almost always pick for sure. There will be a few turns here and there where it'll be a better idea not to deal damage to stop from taking a big hit. And in those situations, it's good not to attack just so you can, like, if you see your enemy's intention to deal one of their big boss damage attacks, it might be a good idea. You know what? I'm not going to play anything. I'm going to get that impervious and we'll go. Or say you have a ton of burning on you. If you have impervious at the end of your turn, you don't get that burning damage. It's a really, really strong card, and it's even better in like a Seer's Orb deck type of thing. But either way, like it's a really strong card, and that 1 impervious will really pay off, and it's definitely an almost always pick for sure. Next, we have Passing of Time. 1 energy. Foretell 3 cards, then conjure a free copy of any memorized card revealed this way. It's a good card, I'll say that, but it needs focus to really excel. And you know, you'll get memorized cards in the Sunforge. Like, you'll be able to memorize cards in the Sunforge, no problem. And that makes it worth it alone, but it's not an automatic pick because you need the focus to increase the Foretell to really make this worthwhile. Because Foretell 3 isn't that great. Unless you have a lot of memorized cards, Foretell 3 won't really be that good. But if you have a lot of focus and you can increase that Foretell by a lot, and you can ensure that you're going to find those memorized cards, this is a very, very solid card. But it is a situational card that hinges on you having the focus. It hinges on you having the Foretell, or not the Foretell, the memorize. So it's just not an automatic pick in any means. Next, we have Preordain. I guess I spelled it wrong. I put an E, didn't I? Preordain. So 3 energy. 1 use, upgrade all future rewards by 3. Never, ever pick this card. Never pick this card in the Sunforge. The only reason to pick it is to transmute it into a better legendary. Don't, like, no. Just, I have nothing else to say about this card. Don't pick this card. Don't pick this card. Next, quick adaptation. So, 4. 1 energy, permanently replace a card in your deck with one of your opponent's cards, and it's unique. You can only play it once. So, I've said it before, But I'll say it again. Monster cards are broken. This is a card you are always going to take. Or at least you should always take this card. I always take this card when I see it. Because monster cards are so good, it's unreal. Are you facing Serena? Guess what? Now you have a Jinx. You take her Jinx card. Are you facing the Slime? Take his Coagulate. Now you have a heal on demand. Are you facing Belial? Take his card that removes blessings. Oh my god, this is I can't tell you how good this card is. Like, monster cards are so good in this game that you'll find yourself replacing like all your cards with monster cards because they're so good. I take this always. This is an always pick for me. Always pick this. I love this card so much. Next, we have Rusty Lamp. This is an equipment. 3 energy. Activate to delve a revelation. Permanently destroy this after 3 uses. It's got 3 uses. 3 durability. So, I'll be honest, I haven't used this very much. And Revelations are amazing cards, but they suffer from the one big downfall I've mentioned before, and that is focus. Most of them need a lot of focus to actually use. So the good thing about this is it allows you to delve between 3 revelations, so you don't actually have to take one of the ones that require focus to play. So it's good in that regard. But another issue I have with Revelations is that I kind of end up treating them like potions in other games, like Elder Scrolls or something. Like, I find myself never using them, and I end up holding on to them until that like perfect time to use them, never really knowing when that perfect time is actually gonna be. This is an always pick card because of how good Revelations can be, but I just haven't used it that much because I treat it like potions in other games where I end up hoarding them and I end up holding on to them, and I'm like, should I use it now? When do I use it? I don't really know. So a lot of times it ends up just cluttering my deck and being a dead card, but honestly, Revelations are really good that this should be an always pick. Because you will be able to choose, potentially choose Revelations that don't have that focus cost because you can choose between 3 of them. It's a really good equipment. Next, we have the Journey. So for 1 energy, you can choose a rare, and that's a very important word there. You can choose a rare path and play it. And if you have Scholar, you can draw a card for each active path. So the reason why that rare path is very important, this does not allow you to choose Aquarius's Insight, or whatever it's called. Is it Aquarius's? Monty! My dog's barking. See something else. Aquarius's Dream, that's it. It does not allow you to pick Aquarius's Dream, because Aquarius's Dream is a legendary path, not a rare path. But this card is amazing. There is likely going to be 1 path your deck can benefit from, and being able to choose exactly what that path is super helpful. I said it already, but the one downside is that you can't pick Aquarius's Dream, since it's a legendary path. If you haven't drafted any other paths, like I said, your deck will likely be able to benefit from a path. I don't know which one, depends on what kind of a deck you've built, but there is likely a path you'll be able to go down, and this card will let you choose that path that you want. And if you have Scholar, it'll at least allow you to also draw a card, because once you play that path, you draw the card on top of it. It's great. This is easily an almost always pick. It probably is an always pick, but there might be times where you're like, you know what, my deck actually won't benefit from a path. So you might not want to pick it in that instance, but it's a good card. Next, we have True Sight Lodestone. It's an artifact. 3 energy. Upgrade all card rewards by 2 while this is in your deck, and it's upgradable, and it's unplayable. So really, it doesn't cost 3 energy. This, unless you get this as your very first card, you're not going to get a ton of value, if not any value out of this, like you will in story mode. Like I said, if you somehow get this as your very first card, it will at least upgrade all other cards that you're going to draft by 2. But otherwise, this is easily a never pick. Oh, I missed one. It's easily a never pick. I never picked this card. Transmorph. I missed Transmorph. How could I have missed Transmorph? Okay, so 2 energy. Conjure 10 free copies of your foe's cards into your deck. Copy their blessings and draw cards equal to theirs. That's, I believe, a new addition. That wasn't always there. That makes this card instantly better than I think what I've ranked it as, and I already ranked it pretty good. Yeah, I ranked this as almost always pick, but with that addition of copy their blessings and draw cards equal to theirs, this is now an always pick. Yeah, I put this as an almost always pick, but they've changed it and made it even better, so now this is an always pick. Monster cards are broken. Now you're also, not only are you getting free copies of their cards, it does clutter your deck. It does clutter your deck, but monster cards are just so good. And now you're also getting their blessings on top of it as well. Like, if you are facing the behemoth and you are able to remove blessings, but you let him build up a lot of his resilience, and then you steal his copy his resilience, and then take his blessings. Oh, yeah, this card, this is an always pick. Always pick this card. This is a great card. Always pick that card. Fantastic. And our last card, Undertow. This is our last card of the legendaries. Undertow. 1 energy. Inflict 1 drowning, and it's upgradable, and it has... it's a tidal card, so its other tide is also Undertow. And for 2 energy, you can double your foe's drowning, and they're both persistent. Maybe they've fixed it now, but I'm fairly certain that this card is bugged. I think they fixed it now, but I'm not sure. I haven't played with it in a bit. But there have been many times when I've changed the tide with a card, like Washed Ashore or something, and this card did not change. Its tide did not change. So I think it might be bugged. There's been like many times that it has happened. It wasn't like a one-off thing, and I don't think that's an intended mechanic for this card. But this is an amazing card when you have other drowning cards. But the issue is it suffers from a card pool that doesn't have many cards that inflict drowning. But if you do get those cards and then you get Undertow on top of that, it can be very fun. Like, what was it? It was this one. No, not Riptide. It was this one. I forget the name of it. It inflicts 3 drowning. So if you can build up a few stacks of that and hold on to Undertow and then double the drowning, it's actually like it's been fun. It's gotten to the point where I have won with literally just Undertow and drowning. It's an absolutely situational card, but it's very fun if those situations present itself. I probably wouldn't pick this card unless I've already gotten like the other drowning cards that are available to the Seeker, which I think honestly is like just one other card. It might be 2 other cards. I forget which now. I know this one has it, and I forget the name. The name is escaping me right now. But yeah, so that's it for the Seeker's cards. The common, uncommon, rare, legendaries. That's it for the Seeker's cards. We did it. We made it. I will be doing the basic attacks, which are a little bit different because it's not like you can actually, you can't really draft the basic attacks, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll get into that in the next video. thank you for joining me. I'll let's make this a little bit bigger. I'm gonna download this, and I'll probably post it as well, so you can see where I've ranked everything. But that's it. That's my Seeker card tier list. We did it. We did it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one where I'll break down the basic attacks of the Seeker. Thank you so much for sticking through. I'll see you in the next one.